Well, what a session it's turned out to be in Indian Parliament. The Prime Minister was being applauded by the entire rank and file of the NDA when, literally at the stroke of midnight hour, the Waqf Board Amendment Bill was passed by the two houses of Parliament. How do we look at this? What is the way forward as far as this Waqf bill is concerned? Is it really something to be welcomed? Is it something to be scared of, afraid of? With me, well-known scholar, entrepreneur, one of the original fanboys, we always say, of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Zafar Sareshwala, joining us live. Great pleasure as always, Zafar Bhai, to have you with us today.
Thank you so much.
Zafar Bhai, let me first begin by asking you, the headlines today are reading that the Waqf Board Amendment Bill is basically a ploy somehow to capture all the Muslim properties. Is that a just fear which is being expressed?
See, I don't think, some people have this apprehension, and those people have gone to the Supreme Court. You already know that 2 or 3 people have, individuals and also some organizations have gone, and the Supreme Court will test whether, it is unconstitutional or it's a ploy to capture. But, Bhupen, for me, right, since few months when, this was going on, that this government is going to come up with this amendment bill on Waqf, since about a couple of months. See, my feeling was that it is going to pass, because to get a bill passed in Parliament, you need numbers. And NDA always had numbers. I mean, when, earlier people were saying that maybe, Nitish Kumar or Chandrababu Naidu will not support. But I had said to a lot of Muslim leaders in those a couple of months back also, that ultimately they will, for Nitish Kumar to wear your cap at iftar or to even stand in namaz, and for Chandrababu Naidu to be in namaz to do iftar is a different thing. But when it will come, they will support the government. So in those days also, I used to tell the Muslims that, look, if at all you have any apprehension about, what's going to come up with this bill, I think rather than, well, of course, you have parliamentary democracy, you speak in the parliament, you put your representation to the JPC, maybe you can even do a dharna at Jantar Mantar, but these things will not work. The thing which can work is, and which I have been doing since last so many years, when you mentioned about my association with Mr. Modi, and the reason was what? Because he was the chief minister post 2002, there were 5.5 million Muslims. So about Muslim issues and the apprehension, so many things happening. Whom should we talk to? So we decided that we'll talk to the number one who controls the state. And that continued even now. We're taking up issues. So I'd advise that within the Muslim community, people are doing what they're doing in the parliament, JPC, all that is okay. But there should be a group, the intellectual group from the Muslim community, who should directly approach the Prime Minister, the Home Minister, or people who matter in the government.
And so are you saying this Waqf Board amendment, are you saying these amendments which have been passed now in this bill have been passed because the Muslim community wanted to amend the Waqf, the way the Waqf Board existed?
See, Bhupen, since time immemorial, right from independence, every Waqf Board is controlled by the government. For God's sake, we have a central Waqf committee which is under the center. Then you have almost 32 Waqf boards in every state of the country. And Bhupen, every member of that Waqf board is appointed by the government of the day, by that government or that political party which is ruling that state. The members, the chairman of Waqf board is appointed by the government. Even the CEO, he is the main person. The CEO is an IAS officer. He is a government appointee. He is an IAS officer. Then you had earlier the tribunal. Now tribunal is not appointed by the Muslims. That tribunal is directly under the law department of that respective state. Even the judge who sits on the tribunal is a government appointee. So every time since last so many years.
So are you saying that there was no need? Therefore, are you suggesting that as such there was no need because the government anyways was in control? Is that the argument?
Yeah, always. Always the government was in the control. But my problem, what it was, even earlier and even now, which I've been airing, that the problem came up when? Ever since after independence, and maybe successive governments had this Waqf board. Now, what these governments used to do, or the political parties, now they have those Muslims. Now they can't send them in the parliament. You can't send those Muslims in the assembly. You can't send them those Muslims to council. अब बोले वो मुसलमानों को कहाँ भेजो? भेज दो इनको वक्फ बोर्ड में, भेज दो इनको हज कमेटी में. The only criteria मुसलमान है. Now that was the problem. Now what has happened? Waqf board is what? Waqf board is ultimately controlling asset. So basically, you needed people who had the knowledge or competence of managing assets. For God's sake, you needed fund managers. You needed asset managers. But what you got? You got those Muslims who were good for nothing, जिन्होंने जिंदगी में 5 लाख नहीं देखे थे. Those who had not seen 5 lakhs of rupees were interested to manage property worth 1,000 crore. So what will happen? You tell me.
तो क्या ये वक्फ बोर्ड, क्या जफर भाई, मैं अगर एक तीखा प्रश्न आपसे पूछूं, क्या हम ये माने कि ये जो वक्फ बोर्ड है और जितनी संपत्ति वक्फ बोर्ड के पास थी, क्या है जलालत और जलील बने का, क्या ये एक घर बन गया था क्या ये?
अब Bhupen, my problem is, let's come to small brass tacks. First, I want to make, what is waqf actually? When the Prophet, peace be upon him, when he migrated from Makkah to Medina, which is called Hijrah, the migration. You know what he did? The Prophet, when he went to Medina, 2 institutions he set up immediately. Before even namaz and roza was there. He set up auqaf, that is waqf, and Baitul Mal, means mal which comes for collective use of people. And what was the fundamental usage of that? That this waqf or this asset or this wealth, you create wealth out of it, you create money stream, and that would take care of the poor, the underprivileged, the widows, the orphans, and the word which is used in the Islamic parlance or in the hadith is miskin. Yatim, miskin means downtrodden. Now, this waqf was there for 75 years after, let's take post-independence. Right. Now, what was the main use? Suppose people have been talking that there are 700,000 waqf properties, okay? And there are about 8-9 lakh acres of land, whatever it is. Now, you tell me that minimum, if you have 700,000 properties, minimum rent for one property should be 10,000 rupees a month. So what would be the amount? Now, unfortunately, what happened? Most of the waqf boards, although they are sitting on thousands of crores worth property, they don't have money to pay their staff. So either there are 2 things. Either you are incompetent or you are dishonest.
So it's a question. So it's a question that you're sitting on a land asset, and according to you, waqf really became a property where there was a lot of land, but the value of that asset was not being unlocked, and therefore the requirement of this amendment to the Waqf Bill. Is that the argument?
See, I'll give you an example. I know one mosque in Mumbai, one of the posh areas. Somebody, maybe 120 years back, one rich individual in those days had donated land to build a mosque. He built the mosque. Beautiful mosque. It is on the sea. That mosque, he did not build just the mosque, but for the upkeep of the mosque, he donated a lot of land also around that mosque. And the idea was that with this, you monetize, it will take care of the mosque upkeep, the refurbishing, whatever, it will take care of the imam and the people working there. And not only that, it will take care of the poor and needy in and around that area. Okay?
Right.
I know that mosque. People who were involved in that, the trustees, they have usurped thousands of crores. Not 1 rupee has gone to anybody. Now,
why don't you name? Why don't you tell us? Let the facts come out now in public.
Yeah. Now
which is this mosque that you're talking about?
Now I'm telling you.
नहीं, पहले mosque का नाम बताइए ना, कौन सा mosque था सर ये?
Yeah, I don't want बहुत सारी. अच्छा, waqf also means that you are donating for God, for Allah, and it is ta qayamat, till the day of judgment. So it can never, a Waqf property can never ever be sold. It can never ever be exchanged. Now, so many Waqf properties have been sold. Okay, we know all that. How can you sell that?
So that's
Now,
corruption.
if at all you have sold,
So you're saying that's corruption?
that is corruption. And see, the main idea of this Waqf was what? It will take care by this wealth or wealth creation or asset money stream coming out of that value addition. It will take care of the poor, the downtrodden, the underprivileged, widow, orphan. I have not come across any Muslim orphan who got something from Waqf. I don't know of any widow who's got something from Waqf. In fact, which in this part of the world where I am sitting, there are Waqfs, auqaf, same, and the same principle.
You're in Abu Dhabi. Just for the benefit of our viewers, Zafar Sareshwala is right now in Abu Dhabi, so he's talking about that part of the world.
Yeah. I know some a Waqf because I've been closely working, and these Waqf here in this part of the world, they work like asset management companies. The auqaf people bring the best talent available in the asset management industry. And the mandate is simple that we are giving you this $1 billion worth of property asset. How much value addition you are going to bring to it? And in this part of the world, apart from underprivileged, downtrodden, even a woman who's divorced and the husband cannot give her the maintenance, that maintenance also comes from the auqaf. In fact, I know of one fatwa given by an Islamic scholar here. They had sold a property, a Waqf property was sold. So they asked that, what do we do? So immediately the answer came from the Sharia, the Sharia board of here, that you cannot keep that in money, convert that back into asset, and an asset which gives return in the form of money. So don't put your money also idle.
So you're saying that in India, so therefore in India, either there is corruption, or there is incompetence, or there is dishonesty. These are the three definitions that I'm hearing from you as far as the Waqf board was concerned. But here's the other point, Zafar bhai. Whether it was in Parliament or in multiple social media streams, there is one specific comment which is being made, and I want you to throw some light on that. Is it true that it's possible for any individual, any Muslim citizen, to proclaim any property as being property of the Waqf and therefore stake claim on that property, as is being suggested in multiple streams?
No way, not at all. How can anybody do that? Waqf
So there is
somebody who had donated.
There is disinformation. There is disinformation which is being spread on that.
No, you cannot. And also there is one other disinformation which is going on, that Waqf has the highest property after Government of India and Railway. In fact, if you take only 4 states, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, and Karnataka, South Indian states, there the Hindu temples and the Hindu, shrines, they have more asset than Waqf property. So it is not that. But the problem is that had this Waqf asset managed the way it should have, and it should reach where it has to reach, I don't think that the Muslims in India would have been poor.
Okay, I think that's a strong statement. That's a strong statement that you're making, Zafar bhai. But thank you so much for joining us and shedding light on a subject which has clearly divided political lines, as most subjects have been doing over the last decade or so. Thanks so much for your time, sir.
Thank you so much.